In this video, I'm going to show you 10 different ways to use a combination square. Coming up. Hey guys, it's David here from David's DIY Reviews. On this channel we do DIY projects, product testing, and product tutorials just like this one. So stick around and I'm going to show you more ways to use a combination square than you probably thought were possible. The first and most common use for a combination square is marking or checking 90 degrees. That's really useful and probably the one that people do most. Another good use for the 90-degree function is you can mark around square stock perfectly so your lines match up when you go to cut it. Another really good use for the 90-degree function is checking saw blades to make sure they're perpendicular on like table saws or skill saws. You can also use it to make sure that the fence on a jointer is square, or even the miter fence, the miter push fence on a table saw is square. The second most common and obvious part of a combination square is the 45-degree angle. And a really good use for that is obviously just drawing lines at 45 degrees across your material. Another good one is to remove the body, and you do that by unscrewing the screw underneath the rule part of the combination square. Remove it, then you can use just the body, and you can use that to set saw blades to 45 degrees, like on a table saw or a miter saw, or even like a skill saw, because sometimes they can get out of whack. It's a really good tool for that. The third use for a combination square that a lot of people don't really think to do, but is one that I really like, is that you can actually use it as a depth gauge. You can set it to get your depth, and then you can use it to do things like transfer a mortise to a tenant for cutting, or you can use it, to set the depth of bits on a router, even table saw blades, things like that. Using it as a depth gauge is really useful. Another really good use for just the rule part of a combination square is using it to check flatness of material. Or even, you could use it to check the sole of a plane. And the reason that they're better than a lot of other things to use for that is because the rule on a combination square is going to be milled really, really flat. They're thicker and stiffer, so it's really going to show you if something's flat a lot better than just using a tape measure or a regular ruler. Another really great common use for a combination square, combination square, I've said that a million times already, sorry, but is to use it to draw parallel lines down your material, just like this. Another really great use for setup and layout when doing projects is you can use it kind of set up like this to set different parts in place when you're doing setup on your projects. Also, a lot of newer combination squares have levels in them, which is really good for leveling things. Another good use is just to remove the ruler, because once again, the ruler portion of a combination square is really strong, really solid, really precise. It's going to be always better than a tape measure, a lot better than, a cheaper ruler or anything else like that. I know I stopped counting, but we're on number 9. And the ninth, probably most useful use for a combination square, it's just the same words over and over, use, combination square, I know it's crazy. But anyway, the ninth best use for a combination square is probably using it as a depth gauge to set saw blades, router bits, setting joiners up so that the deck is the perfect height above the blade. Depth setting like that is really, really useful. And the 10th really, really useful tip for combination squares is it's something that I actually don't have, but you can get protractor bits and you can get center finding bits for them. And if you do a lot of work with round products, round wood, round plastic, whatever it is you're doing, those adapters, they're going to be really good for setting up your projects for cutting, marking, so on and so forth. If you do that kind of work, picking a couple of those up, they're really going to help you. Another little hidden feature that most good combination squares have too is they actually have a built-in scribe in the bottom. And that's going to be really useful on the job site or around the house when you don't have a pen or pencil. And I gotta say, a combination square, it's really the go-to tool for, small DIY, even, precise building, cutting, marking. There's so many uses for it, probably more than I even named. And leave it in the comments below if you know some other really great tips and tricks for using a combination square. And you know what? if you're just getting into DIY and measuring and marking, cutting, all that kind of stuff, and you're having trouble even just reading and figuring out tapes and tape measures and reading measurements, check out this video in the YouTube card above. It's all about how to use a tape measure, everything you need to know. It's really thorough. It's really going to help you out. And like always, guys, see you Monday, see you Wednesday. David's DIY Reviews. Check it out. Great content. Next video next week.